We're going to be breaking down a simple mindset trick that we use all the time in business and life that helps us show up way more powerfully now. And it's this concept of being your future self. Now, we can't time travel, but this is a tactic that is gone super in depth on. There's a book called Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And athletes, entrepreneurs, high performers, they use this all the time and see incredible results. And so we just want to share some tangible stories of how we use this in our lives. We're not perfect at this, but this is something that really has helped us, one, make decisions more powerfully, two, show up more powerfully, and three, start to propel towards that future self in a faster, more accelerated pace.
In my life, I've set goals or intentions of who I want to be, where I want to be. I almost paint the picture of like the Chelsea in the future. But then if you were to go back and look at the decisions that I have to make today to actually get where I want to be in the future, those need to align. And oftentimes people focus so much on their past and who they were in the past and the failures or the shortcomings, and they let those past experiences dictate who they are today. And in reality, who you are today and how you see yourself will actually impact your future. And here's a great example. Yesterday, I knew I was going to have to make a hard call. Like I was going to have a hard conversation. And my first reaction was not to stand up with confidence and assurance. It was actually to like run and hide. Like if you know me, you know that like I haven't always loved conflict. I haven't felt comfortable in conflict. It's actually been quite the opposite. I've wanted to like run and hide and like protect myself and pretend like it didn't happen. And being an entrepreneur and especially a mom and a leader, I've had to learn that it's okay to advocate for yourself. It's okay to be kind, but also firm in what you need and in the decisions that you're going to make. And it's taken me like so long to be comfortable with that. And I realized yesterday that my gut reaction in the beginning was to like run and hide from this hard conversation. But then I thought about like, what would the Chelsea in the future, how would that Chelsea want me to respond? Would that Chelsea like run and hide in a corner, or would that Chelsea be like strong and powerful? And I was like, no, like the Chelsea today would want me to like be strong and kind and powerful. And so I picked up the phone and I called this supervisor. It had nothing to do with Rainmakers or anything like that. It was just like a personal project that we have going on. And I called them, and you know what? It wasn't so bad. And that person responded great. And even if they didn't, like I did what I was supposed to do. And oftentimes, like I know in my own life, I've been like, I'm going to be confident and this is my goal. But then who we are today, like we're not making decisions as if we were that strong, powerful person. And you need to connect the two.
So this is an interesting concept because it's not about living in the past. It's not
Mhm.
even about, I mean, you are in the present, but it's about setting your mindset in the future and letting that be a compass. I feel like when you have a future vision, when you've actually like really thought about it, dug into it, and really gone deep on it, then it becomes a compass for you today to filter decisions through and actually influence present actions. A story on my end is we're hiring another role in our company right now. So when I was going through the interviews, present Stephen or even past Stephen maybe would have chosen a couple of these candidates. But when I thought about where we're going and I thought about the vision for the company, I thought about the trajectory of even like
Mhm.
3 years ago, we couldn't have predicted today, right? I was drawn to one candidate because I was like, this is the person that I feel like is stretching us, and future Stephen will thank present Stephen for making the call now. And so that's the concept of being your future self now. And this can apply to so many areas of your life. But I feel like it really starts with vision casting. It starts with vision casting your life, your business. Like, what do you want to see yourself looking like in the future, being like, acting like, and how do you want to feel? I think that is one of the things that when you
Mhm.
get down to the feelings and you can really start to envision it, I would write this down because then you can start kind of looking at that person and saying, like, what would they do now? What would they do now? Sometimes when I'm even just working throughout my week, I'm like, will Steven in the future do the things he's doing
Mhm.
right now in my week? Or do these things need to be delegated? Do I need to automate these things? Do I need to, build a team to do these things so I can level up, right? These are the things that keep us on that growth pattern and accelerating towards this future self.
We talk all the time about the importance of finding who's for your to-dos so you can focus on your strengths. That's where Fiverr comes in. It's an affordable solution that can help you dip your toe into buying back your time. I'll never forget the first time I discovered Fiverr and realized I could have people help me in my business for as little as $5. Whether you need graphics, design, videos, animation, even music, voiceovers, or cute drawing of your family for an upcoming gift. Discovering Fiverr was a game changer. Head over to rainmakerfamily.com/deals to create your account and get your special hookup. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals. I feel like Steven and I have kind of like painted this big picture as far as like to be your future self. How do you make decisions today? And I think it really comes down to what Steven talked about. Like, you have to have vision for yourself and for the future. I love this proverb that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And that's true. If you don't have vision, if you don't have any excitement, if you don't know where your life is heading, it's really hard to like get there if you're just like walking around aimlessly. And so that's why I think goal setting and working your way backwards to get there is really important. And you can put things down on paper, but if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe it's going to happen, then it probably won't. So I would encourage you to think about your future. Think about like the next 6 months. What do you want to feel like? How do you want to feel in your own skin when you are making decisions as a business owner? How do you want to feel when you're interacting with your friends and with your family? Like, do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel light? And then what are the things that you need to put in place to do that? I know for a business standpoint for me, like I want the next 6 months to look like I have room to breathe. And what I mean by that is like more margin in my calendar, more saying yes to the things that really matter to me and are most important. And I also want like my life online and offline, there should just be this like freedom that happens. And I don't know, practical example is the other day I was posting a reel and I couldn't think of a caption and I was struggling so much to think of a caption. And this is something that I struggled with for years before we had help in our business when it came to social media and some of the copywriting. Like I would just struggle and I would hit a wall and I would be over analyzing and overthinking like what I was supposed to say. And I remember the other night, I was like wanting to do this post. I almost wanted to do it just because I loved the memory that we created with the boys. So I wanted to have that on my feed. But more than anything, like I just wanted to be able to look at it and like experience and see freedom in that. And I just came to a point where I was like, the future Chelsea would not be worrying about this little post. So just like post whatever, say whatever comes to your mind. Who cares if it's perfect grammar? Just like post it and be done with it. And I did. And honestly, I probably didn't get very many likes, but like, I don't care because I was posting it for me and for our memories. And it's part of that feeling and who I want to become in the future. The Chelsea in the future is free and she has margin. And so I need to make decisions today off of that feeling.
I feel like this has really helped us in business and life,
Mm.
but also I feel like there has been some obstacles to doing this. And I feel like for me, I've shared this in the podcast before, but for like years, I just struggled to be consistent with working out, you know?
Mhm.
And I really, what got me over that line was just having accountability and having
Mhm.
someone else actually show up and force me to work out. But the how I got to that decision was a future self Steven vision of
Mhm.
like, I want to be healthy. I want to be able to throw my kids in the air, not hurt my back. I don't want to be able to like be an inspiration for my boys. And so like what type of decision would that Steven make when I was considering like investing in a personal trainer to come force me to work out? Cause like that's what
Mhm.
I needed in that season was that accountability. Like that's what helped make that decision. But on the flip side of that, I was actually recently working with a mindset coach. And he was sharing with me like how he actually quit smoking. And so
Mhm.
sometimes there is like, you know, either addictions or there is like just really deep neural pathways where it's just like, man, I just like really want to get out of this. And yeah, my future self wouldn't do this, but I just keep doing it. Right.
Yeah,
And he
that's
shared
hard.
with me a concept called dissociation. And so how this works is you actually want to like, I'll just share a personal example. Every year, okay, we get a lot of snacks for the mailman, like the mail carriers
The
that deliver the
delivery people.
packages around Christmas time. And it's like the smorgasbord of goodies. And we do have some healthy options in there, but you know, these guys and gals, like they like the sweets. Okay. So we hook them up and we get a lot of good stuff there. But this thing is literally just sitting outside our front door. And if you know me, I love sweets. And so I walk by this thing and it's like, it just calls my name, and it's like, just have a pack of Gushers, just have, a bag of chips. Right. And so for a long time, like for years, I would just like during the season, I would just like snack on those things.
Mhm.
And so I was talking to this guy, this mindset coach, and he's like, let me tell you how I quit smoking. I did this thing called dissociation. I actually personified that desire. Okay. So I
Mm,
personify that desire and I think about what's the future self of that desire. So for
mhm,
him, he envisioned this like, for him, he like kind of gave it a personification that wasn't even like him. It wasn't like his future self, but he was like, I envisioned this like old, kind of like haggard
mhm.
witch lady, and her teeth are rotting out and yellow, and her breath stinks. And she's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
have another cigarette. Like in her breath, like her voice is just like
Yeah.
gone. And so what he would do when he had these desires, he would like pretend like it's her saying it, right? And so I came up with one for the snacks. I came up with the whale. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the whale, the movie, but what's the guy's name? Brandon Fraser, I think, is the actor. He plays this just morbidly obese character who just like is like chained to this addiction of food, and he just
Mm,
lives on the couch. And so whenever I walk by those snacks and I get that desire knocking on my door saying like, eat the Gushers, eat the whatever, I just pretend it's the whale. And
mm,
it's way easier to say no to the whale because it's like this greasy, morbidly obese, like just like you just gotta like
mhm,
imagine it as this disgusting thing. So you want to like create this repulsion to it instead of like, oh yeah, that is going to taste good, I'm gonna get that
mhm,
dopamine hit. You're starting to like basically associate a negative future self with that.
mm,
So that's like the flip side of this thing. And so it's really helped me out to like just kind of separate that from like,
mm,
oh, this is just me, like I deserve this, I should have a little snack, right? To being like, that's not me. Right. And like choosing the more powerful future self in this season to walk by the snacks and not choose them.
mhm. And I'm reminded too, like in business, especially, and even in whatever health journey, like you're talking about your own health journey, it's oftentimes, I mean, it's not oftentimes, it almost always is the small little that almost seem insignificant amounts of time or energy that you put into creating a habit or working on something. It's sometimes about like the small little bits, the habits that you do every single day that are stacked on top of one another that accumulate into this big result. It's kind of like, podcasting. Like we aren't going to be able to reach more people if we never decide to record a show again. I mean, there are ways around it, like Facebook ads and repurposing content, all of that, but really it comes down to consistency. And over time, that consistency just adds a layer on a layer on a layer on a layer. And that's like what we're talking about too, I think, with change. Like that's what I see in my life is like I've been really consistent in a lot of areas. And that's why I've gotten results. And that consistency doesn't come without opposition or pushback. It always comes with opposition and pushback. It's just a matter of like building that consistency and just being able to like say no or say yes. I am gonna like choose to do this thing even though it's hard, and just like those reps over and over and over and over again. And I think that it's who you are in the opposition and how you don't choose to run and hide, how you decide to stand up tall and face like the fear that you have about that, how you create your first online business and talk about it with your friends and not shrinking back. And even if somebody close to you doesn't agree, you're still going to like keep moving forward. It's not without opposition, it's like because of the opposition that you keep moving forward.
So as we go into this year, try this mental trick, be your future self now. You gotta envision it. But then when you come up to these hard decisions, you come up to these opportunities, ask yourself, like, would Steven in the future, would your name in the future,
Hmm.
would they make this decision? How would they make this decision? How would they show up? How would they walk into the house? How would they have this conversation? And let it guide you. And this has been such a powerful tactic for us. And we just wanted to share it with you. If you want to go deeper on the topic, Benjamin Hardy's book, Be Your Future Self Now, listen to it on Audible. It's a great read and it'll help expand your mind on this topic.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. Hey, if you are not a part of our Rainmaker Mastermind, we have a new opportunity for you to book a one-on-one strategy call with one of our Rainmaker coaches.
If you want to get a call with them, see if it's a good fit for you to work with us to build a business that allows you to have time freedom and financial freedom, you can get that call at makeItrainmama.com/podcast. That's makeItrainmama, MOMMA.com/podcast.